My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And this is a movie that nobody cares about. Nobody does. There was 3 other people in the theater as me. Only 3. That's it. I've never seen a superhero movie of this size nowadays with this little interest behind it. And I just think people are getting tired of this type of movie, and it's easy to see why. And this movie is directed by David F Sandberg, who I do like. He does some great content on YouTube, and he made Annabelle Creation, which is one of the biggest leaps in quality for a sequel ever. That movie has great atmosphere, it's legitimately really scary, and I like the 2 sisters' relationship in that movie. He did Lights Out, which is a really fun haunted house type of movie. And he did Shazam, which I like, but he's just one of those directors who's trying to get out of hole, and I'd prefer it if he just went back to his roots, because that's what he really excels at. You know, same thing with James Wong. I like Aquaman and Furious 7 fine enough, but my favorite James Wong is Insidious and The Conjuring and Saw and Malignant and Dead Silence, and I'd like it if James Wong just did those type of movies. You know, not everyone has to try to experiment with all these different genres, and I feel like the superhero genre is taking so many talented directors whose skills are better utilized somewhere else. But anyways, let's get to the movie now. The first act is legitimately really great. I was surprised at how much I was enjoying it. There are some really cool supernatural elements, and I think it's a great evolution of the characters from the first movie. Like, Billy never knew his father, he was rejected by his mom, and at the end of the first movie, he finds his place in this foster home. And now everybody's growing up, and they're wanting to do their own thing, and he's about to age out soon, and he's afraid of losing everyone he's come to care for. And I'm just like, this is really good, and how he becomes overly protective of Freddy and how that causes a rift in their friendship. I'm like, this is the perfect direction to take these characters in. And I don't want to give anything away, but I will say there was a moment that legitimately surprised me here in the first act. I don't know if it's actually in the trailers, maybe I didn't pay close enough attention, but I was just like, oh, I'm surprised right now. And like Act 1 ends in a way where like, you feel the stakes, and I thought I was going to love this movie, and then, whoa, it's all downhill from there, folks. Yeah, it never reaches that quality again. Now, the last 2 acts do have a few moments here and there that were charming, or that were emotional, or that were exciting, but it becomes way less consistent and just way more sporadic, and it just really becomes a nothing movie. Like, there's this giant dome that forms around this city, and you completely forget about it until the last act. So it's like this huge threat that has 0 weight behind it. This movie also has a case where they just make up random magic rules on the spot and it feels like it. You know, you're just like, wait a second. So that's what can stop monsters? Really? And then the characters turn the corner and, oh, they find exactly what they need. Well, that's awfully convenient. Oh, the staff can do what now? It's just feels like it's just getting made up on the spot. It's a case of, and then this happens, and then this happens. I always say some of the best screenwriting advice came from the guys behind South Park who said, you want to have it so the script is, therefore this happens, therefore this happens. So it's a series of cause and effect. And here it's just, and then this happens, I guess, and then this happens, and this happens. It just takes you out of it. Especially in the action scenes. I was just watching some of them, especially one, and I'm just like, how are the villains losing right now? How? It's just, they're very inconsistent in how strong they are. And speaking of the villains, when they announced Ellen Mirren and Lucy Liu, I was just like, oh, that's great. Two great actresses, and they're going for a different kind of villain. I'm into this. They're given nothing to work with. These are the most generic villains where you're left wondering, what do they want? Why? Okay, like it's just a convoluted mess that you just couldn't care less about. I always prefer it when they don't keep things vague and when they tell you exactly what they want and why at the beginning, so you're more on board with them for the rest of the movie. You're not just like, huh? Really? Yeah. Yeah, the storytelling is just very clunky in the second half, and then the last act actually just is like non-stop action. It's just lots of stuff going on and lots of action, and it's supposed to be exciting, but after 10 minutes I just grew numb to it, and it goes on for like another 20. The movie also has some really bad CGI, and I also feel like the supporting characters are pushed completely to the side. I would have loved it if they focused a bit more on the other members of the family more. And I just say this because that's exactly my issues with the first movie. It's funny in moments, it has charm, I like the characters, but the villain is generic, it's way too long, the CGI is bad, the last act goes on forever, the supporting, it's just the exact same issues. And yeah, like, it's 2 hours and like 5-10 minutes. No, it should have been an hour and 40 minutes. You could have easily shaved 20 minutes off without a doubt. There's one scene, well, yeah, I'm gonna mention it. Well, they're getting chased by a dragon, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of the characters comes out as gay, and it just feels so shoehorned in. You know, actually, on things that I did like about this movie, there was this new character named Steve, and I really liked everything with Steve. I thought it was, it reminded me of Harry Potter in some ways. The cast does a pretty fine job. Zachary Levi acts way more immature than Billy Batson does in this movie, so it feels like they're not really the same character, but he does fine for the script he has to work with. Asher Angel does fine. He's not really in the movie much at all. But the standout of this movie is Jack Dylan Grazer. He is fantastic here, and I truly mean that. I didn't even like his performance in the first movie because he was just too much. Here, he keeps the movie grounded in emotion, and he's just the heart of this movie, and he just does such a great job. Adam Brody we don't really see, so Rachel Zegler actually really pissed me off because she's great in the first act of this movie, and then they completely waste her character, and she just becomes like a side character, and it's just like, you introduced her incredibly well. I would have liked more of her, and everyone else is fine enough, I guess. So like overall, it does have its moments. I did enjoy lots of it, so I would have given this movie a 6 out of 10. But then the ending happens. The ending is a complete joke. And I don't want to give anything away, so I might just do a spoiler review this weekend because it is such a stupid ending. All I'll say is that it's a cop-out, and if you want people to feel real emotion, then actually go through with what you want to do. No backtracking. It retroactively brings so much of the movie down. And to do it in the way that they did, it really pissed me off. Yeah, like, I despised the last 5 to 10 minutes. Like, really bad stuff. But, overall, this movie is just a mixed bag. I love the first act. I feel like it sets a lot of fantastic groundwork that the movie then completely wasted. It does have a few moments in the latter sections of the movie, but the drop in quality is just undeniable. The villains are generic, it's way too long, the CGI is bad, the script's not great. If you want to see it, then go give it a chance, but if not, you can skip out on it. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 with a slight recommendation. But I should mention that the post-credit scenes are fantastic. The mid-credits one is actually pretty funny. I enjoyed it. But the one at the end of the credits, just 10 out of 10. Phenomenal stuff. Just loved it. I feel like some people might be pissed off by it, but I laughed really hard. But what were your thoughts on Shazam: Fury of the Gods? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.